You mentioned Bretton Woods and you mentioned Bretton Woods and some other things, and that takes me back to my undergraduate days and graduate days. And based on what I learned back, I hate to say this, back in the mid '60s and then in graduate school in the early to mid '70s, is because of economic fundamentals, it's going to be absolutely terrifying what happens in this country when people put on the glasses and realize the emperor is not wearing any clothes. Mm-hmm. And I guess the question I have, and I know we have to wrap this up because you're a busy man right now, but the question I have is, do you have any thoughts on when that may happen in terms of a time frame?
Yeah, but they're not worth all that much.
Well, it's worth it. Listen, it's worth it to Paul and I. What do you think?
The most important thing is nobody knows.
Yeah.
But we still make estimates, I guess. And we're a lot closer than we were than 35 years ago, obviously. I would be pretty amazed that if we don't have a major event in the next 5 years. But,
I would agree, yeah.
But the way I look at it is that the foundation is gone. Mm-hmm. I mean,
what foundation?
The foundation to the economic system. The foundation.
It doesn't exist.
Or the dollar. You know, that there's no backing to the dollar. There's no convertibility to the dollar. So this is a house of cards. It's in an event. I mean, while we sit here this very week, there might be something happens in the Middle East. Yeah. You know, El Salvador may determine. You know, if he breaks away from the so-called government of Maliki in Iraq, that might, set things off. And in the war that we're losing in Iraq or Afghanistan as well, something could happen there internationally that would frighten people that, that there's something awfully wrong, and then there's a panic out of the dollar. Mm-hmm. And right now, it's in the interest of everybody who's holding dollars, the Chinese and the Japanese, to keep this together.
Well, they have to, of course. They have to, yeah.
But then there might be remember when they said that the banks and the investors would always keep the Nikkei at 40,000, that they would always buy each other's stock? I mean, it's
didn't happen.
It was 17 years, and it's still 15, 16,000.
Right.
So this whole idea that they can keep it together is an illusion, and that's the market speaking. The market is more powerful. So when we get discouraged about the power of the Federal Reserve and the power of the Congress, let's hope and pray that we have enough freedom. And fortunately, now we have enough freedom where we can talk about this. We can actually, not too many years ago, we couldn't even buy gold coins. Now we can buy gold coins, and we can be on our own gold standard.
The really positive thing of events like this and politicians such, I guess I should not use the word politician, but leaders such as yourself, and I mean that very seriously, is that there is no other country in the world where we can have this conversation openly. There is no other country in the world where Paul and I can have a radio show where we discuss issues like this. There's no other country in the world when someone as prominent, for example, as Judge Andrew Napolitano can put out a book lambasting what's going on in the government. I think that very fact is what's going to allow us to survive what I believe is going to be an incredibly large crisis, as you say, in the very near future.
And there's one other thing. Your radio show and others like this are very important, but it's the internet. Just think about the internet. I have the record for voting for the least amount of regulation of anybody, probably any place in Congress, but especially on the internet. And it's a politically risky vote to take because my opponent painted me as pro-pornography and pro-gambling because I didn't want to regulate the internet. Of course, I fell back to the old-fashioned belief that maybe parents have something to say about raising kids.
How many kids do you have? 5. And how many wives? 4 or 5 wives?
I think just one.
One wife, right. Big into pornography, huh? Yeah.
So that was used against me, but the important issue, and I think most people in a conference like this would understand how valuable the internet is because that's where the information is circulating.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it'd be hard for them to get rid of the internet or gather up our guns or take our gold coins.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. And they were much more passive in the 30s, but I believe Americans today will not give up their guns and they will not give up their gold coins and they're not going to give up their internet, even though we allow our Congress to start into the regulating of the internet for making sure that you're a better person, make sure you don't gamble and this sort of thing.
I've got to tell you, I can't thank you enough for being here. I think that's a great place to end this. I think it's very important important for listeners, folks at this show, to be aware that we do live in the greatest country in the world, and what you're saying is the regulation may exist, but the freedoms will never be lost, and that's what's going to get us through. Congressman Ron Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back with more from San Francisco on the Korelin Economics Report from the 2006 Hard Assets Investment Conference. Thanks for joining us.